Again, you point out on the show about this word salad where, and this is what I always find amazing about certain people of the left, I'll be kind, which is it doesn't matter what's going on in the world, they can find a way to make it about them. And she's been able to link everything from climate change to Ukraine to women's issues.
Finally, I'm so glad that Elena Zelenska is here because women are... Women and children are the primary victims of conflict and of climate change, and there is no place that unfortunately, tragically shows us that more dramatically than Ukraine today.
This is what they do with absolutely everything. They link all of their nonsensical things, right? So they have all of these policy prescriptions, which always somehow gives centralization more power, and they want to be at the center of centralization. That's what really so much of what's happening in the world is about right now. Do you want to be controlled by just one single set of people, or do you want to decentralize power and make decisions about yourself? But the video you're talking about, I mean, she's up there talking about climate change, and she's somehow linking it to racial justice. And of course, she's also a victim because she never became president. She used to call Donald Trump an illegitimate president, but you're allowed to do that sort of thing when you're a Democrat. And I think really, to go to the red pill thing again, I think a lot of people really have woken up to this nonsense. Even if you see what's happened in the last couple days in America with the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, you know, watching the feds immediately come in and Biden immediately come in and say, you know, we're going to take care of this. What we're doing is we're making bigger banks bigger. No one ever pays the price for bad decisions. And I think the average person is looking at the rest of the world going, you know, there's problems out there, but we got problems here. And maybe we should deal with some of our stuff. If I dare quote my friend Jordan Peterson, maybe we should clean our rooms before cleaning up the world.
Excellent point. Make your bed every day. It's one simple thing that you can do, which is what Jordan Peterson often talks about. You mentioned this bank collapse. Now, stocks went all the way down. Surprise, surprise. They started to go back up, meaning an awful lot of people got rich out of other people's misfortune. But it's a good point. Whenever these financial institutions do the equivalent of an oil spill, they get bailed out. Whereas the people who actually cause the environmental damage, well, they often end up being literally and metaphorically taken to the cleaners. But I also love that the automatic thing here was to blame Trump. You know, when the train derailed, blame Trump. When this happens, blame Trump. Well, hang on. They've had total control of government for 2 years. They're able to pass 1,000 pages of legislation in a night. There's only so many things that they can blame on the former bloke when they're in charge of everything.
Of course, and to be quite frank, you cannot blame Trump for the inflationary crisis that we have now, our wrecked economy now. I mean, I know they do that every day, so I suppose you can say it, but it doesn't make it true. Look, I think there are good arguments on both sides of this. I understand the argument of why you would want to bail them out. The average person that put money into this bank did not know the risky things they were doing. However, a lot of it wasn't necessarily because the bank just was doing risky things. It was also because of the crazy inflation situation. But you don't want the average person who put some money into a bank to be, you know, screwed over in essence. But I understand the reverse argument on that, which is if we just never let the consequences actually occur, then really we only do have one bank. If you never let those things fail, you end up basically with the government controlling the whole freaking thing. And maybe that's just where we're at this point, and maybe we don't fully grasp how deep in it we are, although I think some people are now seeing that.
I think the truth about the way that the radical modern left, let's use their terms, would work is that they believe that you either work for the government or your business exists to service the government or you are dependent on the government. And if they can get it down to, you know, 40% and less of people that are actually self-sufficient, then they're sort of losers who can always vote whatever way they want to. But everyone else who's reliant on the machine, has to service the machine, keeps voting for the machine, which is a perfect way to finish off here with our old mates at The View. Conversation kicks in about Kamala Harris, and one of the hosts is a massive fan and says you must get behind her, but has no idea what she's actually done.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with Democrats. Listen, here's the bottom line, guys. Joe Biden's going to be your nominee. Stop talking about how old he is. And Kamala Harris is going to be your vice president. So stop fretting, stop wringing your hands, and get behind your ticket, because on the other side, the alternative is Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis.
I think it has a lot to do with this. She's a black woman. Black women get everything done. We've saved this country's democracy for
She's obviously amazing, but
centuries.
what specifically?
But, well,
like, no, I mean,
where shall I start? I mean, she was in the Senate, of course.
But no, I mean,
she's the
as
Attorney
Vice
General.
President, of course,
As Vice
she's
President, the Inflation Reduction Act. I mean, she was the face of Roe v. Wade. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'd like to ask you, what did Pence do? What did Pence do except put his lips firmly on the butt of Donald Trump?
Well, no one knows what Kamala Harris has done. You got to remember, this woman was polling at 0 in her own party when Joe Biden selected her to be VP and said, hey, in essence, he said, hey, I'm doing this because she's a black woman, and that checks those boxes. I'm an old white guy. You know, the Democrats aren't that bright. We got to show them some pictures here that are going to compute in their brains. So nobody knows what Kamala Harris has done. She was an ineffectual senator when she was in California. I think she was the state attorney general before that. She put an awful lot of people in for smoking weed, in jail for smoking weed, while she admitted to smoking weed herself. Because it's always rules for thee, not for me. But her list of accomplishments, other than she claims to have celebrated Kwanzaa as a child, which I have no doubt is a lie, is pretty freaking thin. But, hey, there's one privilege, my friend, and it's called Democrat privilege. You can screw up everything, you can accomplish nothing, but you're going to get a pretty sweet gig with a good pension. Just look at Anthony Fauci.